Function with Purpose podcast. All things health, wellness, fitness, and education through the physical therapy perspective. I am Dr. Amy Bullock, owner and founder of Fortress Physical Therapy. Fortress PT is here to serve the Charlotte metro area by highlighting the importance of how and why physical therapy should be a part of your health and wellness lifestyle. Here we go. Welcome to Season 11, Episode 2 of the Function with Purpose podcast. I am Dr. Amy, hosting this lovely episode with you today. Thanks for joining in. And these episodes are just a little bit longer, probably in that 20-30 minute range. So probably just enough perhaps on your drive into or out of work. Thanks for subscribing and listening to me. Hopefully you can take away some things on these episodes and previous episodes. So, Season 11, Episode 2, here we go. Implementing exercise during planned travels. So, a lot of us travel, whether it's kind of locally near our hometown, maybe a couple hours away where you're driving in a car, or it's traveling on an airplane and then going to your destination. So some non-negotiables that I have learned and have developed better routine and habit, and hopefully you can take away or take some of these pieces with you as you go, because we know when traveling happens, our fitness and exercise regimen or routine easily gets pushed aside. I'm a person who believes that exercising on vacation days or planned travels should happen. I think it just should. It's if exercising and training is a part of your identity, then why not continue to do it? You can still do it while you're on vacation or traveling. So don't poo-poo this just yet. Some of you might be like, no, F that. Like, I'm on vacation. I'm here to just relax and do what I need to do. Yes, that is still personally a part of my routine, but I still need and crave and want some type of exercise routine as I'm traveling or vacationing. So, some tips to give you and some things to incorporate for you. I think the biggest thing is, first and foremost, whenever you're planning something, a getaway, you need to put it on the schedule. Even if you're not traveling, right? Fitness needs to be a part of the routine. Exercise, movement needs to be a part of our daily routine. Put it on the schedule. Block it out. If you actually need to physically see it on a calendar or in the notes section or set as a reminder on your phone, do it. Put it on your schedule first, because then that sets the tone and the direction for the day, right? It makes you feel good. When we exercise, we get these little hits of what we call the dopamine response, the feel good, and man, I'm ready to attack the day. So put it on the schedule. So by the time this podcast comes out, I would have recently taken my trip to the West Coast to Oregon with my best friend Rachie. Shout out Rachie, if you're listening to this. Don't worry, I'll send you the link so that you need to listen. So that means traveling on an airplane, and then we rented a car, and then we stayed at 3 different cities within Oregon. And we already knew, Rachie and I, that we wanted to exercise and we wanted to do some type of movement no matter where we were. So here's what I did and plan to do, even for future trips. When I get to the airport and I go through security and all that jazz, kind of get through that situation. I have TSA, by the way. TSA is it's so much better. Global TSA, especially if you're going to travel out of the country. As soon as you get through security, get your steps in. Because you know that if you have to travel by an airplane, you will be stagnant at least half the day, if not more. No matter if you're traveling an hour away on a flight or longer, right, where you have to have a layover, get your steps on. So that's immediately what I did. As soon as I got through security, of course I'll wear sneakers. I just went, I usually go get coffee and then I go straight to my gate just to kind of observe and scope things out, see where it is. I always identify where the bathroom and water fill stations are. So after I've done that, I'm usually there, an hour before my flight takes off or so, or maybe an hour and a half. Maybe I go a little bit earlier and I'm eating breakfast there too. By the way, I pack my own breakfast and snacks. I walk. And another thing that you can sneak in, if you are a person who does carry a backpack or a book bag, walk with your backpack or book bag on. So that is a form of rucking. You're adding resistance to your body as you walk. However, when and if you do that, don't perform it. I mean, you're there, you're traveling, right? You're just walking. And usually when we ruck, or if you do rucking, a good pace is somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes a mile. I'm not there for that. I'm just there to get my walk on, to get my steps in, and I'm observing, I'm listening to podcasts. So I'm walking. I'm walking for a good straight 30 minutes. So I think that's one thing that when you get to the airport and you set the tone as soon as you get to the airport, you're going to feel better later. The flight's going to be better. When you get to your destination, you're going to feel better. So, and if you have a book bag of some sort, slap that baby on your back and you're quote unquote doing rucking. So there you go. You're just walking with resistance. So that's the first thing I do. The next thing when I'm traveling to my destination, when Rachie and I went, the first 2 nights we stayed at an actual hotel in Portland, and we already knew the hotel that we chose has decent equipment. They have a gym there, so they have dumbbells, bench, a dumbbell bench press, treadmills, stationary bike. So I would just come up with a routine and just lift some heavy stuff with what they have there. Basically a full body split. So right then and there, Rachie and I, we're creatures of habit. Luckily she likes to work out too. So the next morning, the plan was to just go down to the gym, the hotel gym, and just knock out some heavy weights and incorporating a little bit of cardio of some sort. So if you are staying at a hotel or you have a planned stay at a hotel, maybe it's the whole time you're traveling, make sure they have a decent gym set up. That's one thing that I definitely look for. So on the flip side, even though hotels are great, they can be very expensive. So we only stayed at the hotel the first 2 nights, and then our other stays were at Airbnbs. So we would have to strategize. We strategized like where the Airbnbs were, and I would research the area and look for specifically CrossFit gyms to drop into. So my goal, and again, I'm recording this a little earlier before I travel, but my goal on this trip was to drop into a CrossFit gym once for sure and maybe twice. So that way I can not only, see the area and how these CrossFit gyms are run, but just to kind of get a good workout in, right? So I do that first thing in the morning, be able to do that and set the tone for the day, so I don't have to think, right? Because when you're at an Airbnb, usually these Airbnbs, it's like an extension of someone's house, and they don't really have equipment, right? So I made it a goal as 1 or 2 days out of the travel that we did for a week, I would drop into a CrossFit gym. Another day or two, we had one day where we did a long hike, and it was maybe a 7-mile hike. So there's my other fitness day. We planned it, we made it happen, excuse me, and we were also planning, don't know if it's going to happen yet, again, I'm recording this earlier, but planning a smaller hike distance or a shorter hike distance that might be 4 miles or less. So we were already getting in some hiking and aerobic conditioning, right, with our backpacks on. So there's another day or two out of the week that we stayed that we were still incorporating fitness. So when traveling away from the hometown, these are things that you need to look for, and definitely some activity, right? Maybe there is a greenway or a run trail path near your Airbnb or the area you're staying around. Go hit that run, right? So those are like some of the tidbits that I would do. I would do my own research and kind of look for surrounding CrossFit gyms. And then the hotel, making sure the hotel that we stayed at had accessible equipment or things that I can easily come up with a workout or two and get some heavy lifting in. And I also traveled with my mini resistance loop bands, so the mini bands. I can link that, link the mini band loop bands for purchase. I don't have any affiliation with this, but I have an Amazon link that I'll send patients. And then even the bigger rubber band traveled with. I kind of traveled with a thicker band, a medium band, and then a thin band. That way I have choices. And it's easily packable. I just pack it in my suitcase. I can even pack it in my backpack, and it's right there. So you can get some pretty good resistance training with just bands, and then body weight movements. Because when you travel, you're not going to lift weights super heavy. You're not going to hit a personal record of a back squat. You're there just to basically maintain fitness and maintain your schedule, and maintain a routine. So my go-to things to travel with are the mini loop bands, especially if I'm traveling via airplane and away from my home, and the big resistance bands, ones that are typically you'll see people in a gym where they'll use those type of thicker, heavier bands for assisted pull-ups. So that's what I'm talking about. So I'll link the mini loop bands and those pull-up band, assistant bands in the description. Again, I don't have any affiliation with Amazon or anything, but I usually have that in my back pocket, and I'll send that to patients if they're looking for something to purchase to have at home. So what about if I'm not traveling on an airplane, Amy? What do you suggest? Good question. Good question. So if I have the opportunity when I'm vacationing or have some planned travels and I have the capability of driving, I pack my own weights. You're crazy, Amy. You're crazy, Dr. Amy. Why would you do that? Well, because I'm controlling the situation. I still want to get my fitness on, right? So I have a couple kettlebells to choose from, dumbbells. I'll even pack my gymnastics rings because I can untie them from my pull-up bar that I have them hanging from here at the house, and I can tie them to a tree branch, a safe tree branch, or even I've done this in the past when I went to the beach when Rachel and I, we had our family beach trip to the Outer Banks, I tied them to the underneath of the porch on those cross beams, and I created a pull-up system for myself. So those are easily packable too. You just throw them in the car. They don't take up a lot of room. So pack your weights. And even a weighted vest. Now that I'm into rucking, a weighted vest is perfect. Just go put your weighted vest on and ruck. How cool is that? That's another form of exercise and resistance training. So if you have the capability of riding in a car to your destination, pack some stuff. Pack one moderate load kettlebell. Or if you're like me, I have some choices. I have an 18-pound up to a 55. You're damn right. I'm going to pack the 55. I'm going to pack the 44-pound. I'm going to pack the 35 or the 25 or even the 18. So when I do travel, I usually pick 3 different kettlebell sizes, a light, moderate, and heavy load. And then if I might take my set of dumbbells. I have 35-pound dumbbells. I might just take those, my weighted vest, and then my gymnastics rings so I can tie them to something and hang them from something. And I always pack a yoga mat. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Like, it doesn't have to be difficult to figure out how to sneak in exercise, because I'm the type of person, when I go on a vacation, that's a non-negotiable for me. I like to get it done in the morning. I'm a morning exerciser, and then I have the rest of the day to do whatever I want. If I have yoga scheduled and I want to take a yoga class, which, by the way, Rachel and I did that when we were out in Oregon, like, what an amazing ability and capability to have it on the schedule and learn something new, put your body through something. I'm not used to yoga anymore, and that's awesome. I need to get back to it. I need to make that more of a priority. So perhaps that might be my goal for 2025. Yeah, look at some different classes to drop into. Maybe it's a bar class, or there's a lot of Planet Fitness gyms around. I think, I might correct me if I'm wrong, if you have a Planet Fitness membership, you can drop in at any Planet Fitness. They can look you up. I don't know, but that might be something too. Or a YMCA. I think YMCAs kind of do that too, or they might charge you a small fee if you're not a part of that specific one. But easy. Make it easy for you. And then there are days where if you know you're going to be walking a lot and exploring and sightseeing, maybe that is your quote-unquote active recovery day. You're getting your steps in. You know you're going to be walking a lot. So give your body a rest. And that's exactly what Rachel and I did. We went on our hikes, and then some of the opposing days when we were in the car, we're planning to be in the car, and we're traveling the coast of Oregon. That's a recovery day for me. Like that was just like, you know what? It's a recovery day. I'm still going to try to get my minimum 8,000 steps in, but I'm not doing any resistance training. We're going to enjoy the views, etc. So first and foremost, the biggest thing to take away from this podcast and some tips is, I think if you're a person like me, if you don't already have it implemented as a habit, I think you need to actually put it on a calendar, put it on the schedule. Put it on the schedule. Whoever you're traveling with, I'm starting to do more traveling with my best friends. Make it non-negotiable. Like, it just sets the tone for the day. You feel good about yourself. And then you can rest the remainder of the day. You know, you're doing your activity, so knock it out in the morning. I prefer morning, that's me. And put it on the schedule. And if at all, if you're unable to get some type of resistance training in, whether it's with bands, body weight, which we can do body weight anywhere, dumbbells, kettlebells, or the barbell, or going into the hotel gym or a CrossFit gym. The least that we can do is have a structured time period to get steps in outside of like what we have planned for the day. Maybe you just go on a 30-minute walk and you try to keep a sustainable pace. Perhaps if you have a backpack, go rucking. Explore the area, right? Or maybe that's when you go on your jog. Again, explore the area. Maybe there is a trail, run trail nearby. How cool is that? So plan it, look at it. Know where you're staying in a certain radius, see where you are, right? Because you can Uber, you can Lyft to certain areas, or if you're close to a downtown city, you can walk down there, check it out. And that's exactly what we did. That is exactly what we did. And then you give yourself that recovery period, or that recovery day. Just kind of play it by ear, right? Because not everything is going to go on schedule. So, but we, as human beings, we crave movement, we crave exercise. And if that's a part of your identity, it should be, right? Because that's what's going to sustain us as a species, right? Like, it's a part of longevity. So don't poo-poo the fact or the idea that, oh shit, I'm on vacation, I ain't doing shit. And that's fine. You can have that mindset. But sometimes, or a lot of times, based on personal experience, that's not the best way that I reset myself, or I reset my mindset, or I reset my body to recover, or if I reset my ability to think, right? My mindset in general. I still make exercise a part of my routine. But I'm not like training for something. I can't do that, because if I'm actually like training for something, towards something, then I have to have an actual progressive overload training. And that's what I'm not there for that. I'm there to move my body and lift some weights and try to create and come up with different ideas to get some resistance in, to strengthen my muscles and bones, tendons, ligaments. So, slightly shorter podcast today, but thanks for hanging in there. I didn't know what I was going to say right there. So, implementing exercise during planned travels, whether it's close nearby where you live, maybe within a drive's distance, right? Or if you're traveling via airplane, like I did, or actually, I'm actually recording this in the future. So my travel personally hasn't happened yet, but I'm acting as if it did. I'm having it on the schedule. I'm giving myself grace, though, too. Playing it by ear, taking each day how I feel, and then going from there. So, if you have any ideas, or anything that you specifically travel with, or how you plan your travels out, I would love to hear about it. And we will see you guys on the next episode. That's a wrap for today's episode, Function with Purpose Podcast. For more information on this episode, please check out the show notes within your podcast app. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, or drop your comments and questions below. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Thanks for the listen. Pursuit, precision, purpose.